Hey everyone, and welcome to our presentation on vibe coding. This is specifically about vibe coding for business, and we'll go over some items. Let me take a look and show you guys the agenda of what I want us to review. First, we'll talk about a little bit about us. What is vibe coding? If you're not familiar with it, why it matters, how vibe coding works, benefits for your business, tools powering vibe coding, and if we have some time, any kind of we'll show you a live demo, real world use cases that small and medium businesses can use. We'll also talk about risks of vibe coding and guidelines you should be taking for safeties and answer any questions that you might have. With that in mind, first a little bit about us. My name is Peter Robert. I have Amy with us on the conference as well on this webinar. I have been in technology for over 35 years. I've been with Expert Computer Solutions for over 20 years. I'm an early adopter of AI. I've been using it for now over, I would say, 3.5 years. I say early adopter, 3.5 years. Yes, that is an early adopter. And I've been doing vibe coding as well. So before I dive into it, let me explain to you what vibe coding is. So traditionally, if you are a CEO, an owner, or a manager, and you wanted an application or specific functionality, you had two options. Go out there and look for software that does what's somewhat similar to what you need, and then purchase the software. And most of the time, you try to adapt the software to do what you want it to do. And it's not always a perfect fit, and then you have to train everybody to use it in a very specific way how the software was defined. That's option one. Option two, you hire a development team. You build a project plan. You outline what your software needs to do. You spend thousands to hundred thousands to millions of dollars to come back, and maybe in a year and a half, you have a software product that does what you want. By that time, your budget has tripled, and your product has completely changed. Now, with the introduction of AI, this is changing very rapidly and very fast. Simply putting it, vibe coding is if you have an idea, something that you want to do in your business, you could have yourself or someone sit down, put a prompt, and say, I would like to have a form on my website that takes in leads and then sends an email to them and sends an email to everybody else and creates this application. And within 10 to 15 minutes, you can actually see your application in action. You don't have to know any code. You don't have to know anything that is how to write code. All you need to know is how to think of an idea and how to type. AI writes the code for you. And believe it or not, businesses have already started adopting this in their environment. Just some fun facts. Over 63% of non-developers now create software. They do this because it's simple, it's easy, it's available. All you gotta do is talk to AI, and the AI tools can create the software for you. So I'm simplifying this to make it sound very easy for you. In a way it is, but there are some other components that of how this works so you guys understand. How does vibe coding work? Well, phase one, you build, you AI writes the code based on your description. So you tell AI, what do you want to create? Tell the AI what you need in as plain language as possible, and then you check the output. AI could even give you a plan of saying, okay, here's your idea, here's the plan of how it's going to look like. Second, once you told AI what you want to do and what you want to create. There's where do you have to store your code somewhere. You have to when it creates a code, you are going to save the code in the code repository and give it access for any team members or any changes you need to make or any rollbacks that you need to make to the code. Usually you use tools for that, such as GitHub, and there's some other tools that are available that we'll talk about. And then after you created your code and you're ready to get it out into the world or into your business, you put it on a platform. The platform, like the database server, a server on site, a server in the cloud, that runs your applications, allows your employees, your clients to be able to access those applications and be able to work on the code that you create. Now, there's a lot of different tools about this, and we'll talk about them in detail, but to simplify it, there's three phases. You come up with an idea, you have the AI build the code and then save the code on the code repository. Then you have your hosting platform where you host the code and host your application and host your servers, somewhat like if you were to purchase a software that you purchased from someone else that runs the vision or the project that you just created. Now, vibe coding has significantly changed or is in the process of changing how actually software development occurs from what it used to be in the past to what it now. Again, I've developed applications in the past. In the past was you have an idea, the project plan is outlined, the team, you give it to the team, then they, months later, they present you a prototype, and then you say, okay, I like this, but now that I have this, how I see this, I don't really want it to work like this anymore. I need to change things. Well, it should be asking different questions. It should be different functionality. And in the past, that would now be a revision, and there would be another revision, and it would take a long time for it to come to light and be operational. Now, the process that I just told you about, the three phases, can be done in minutes. You could literally put in your idea, and 5 minutes later, it will be a working prototype, which means now you're able to do rapid prototyping. You don't have to wait for revisions to occur. You're like, okay, this is now working. So now I want to add this, I want to change that. And a process that would take months to years is taking minutes to maybe hours. It empowers your team. It can automate tasks that before had a lot of manual entries to do. And it can really significantly help businesses be more efficient. Now, to do vibe coding, there's different tools that you would need to use or you would need to be aware of. So the couple of ones that I'm mentioning right now, there's a lot more and they're appearing every day. There's Cursor, there's Replit. Now, Cursor, they combine different AI platforms or AI brands together, your ChatGPT, your Claude, to be able to write code. Replit, very similar. You're able to write code using different tool sets. There's Claude, or specifically Claude Code. You could install it, you could run it in the cloud, you could actually run it on your local computer. It could write code and then upload it to GitHub. There is GitHub and Copilot within GitHub that can help you write code directly inside GitHub. And GitHub is a repository. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well, or code repository. So here's an example. Here's an interesting scenario. Your team tracks equipment maintenance, license renewals, and there are deadlines that you need to follow. Sometimes things fall through the cracks. In this example, build me an operational task tracker dashboard for small business It should include a form to add tasks with fields, categories, vendor follow-ups, and specify priorities. Below the form, show a live table of all tasks sorted by due date. This is just a quick example of how you can actually build even directly inside Claude Code, for example. In this phase, it was able to build you something that you could see and do rapid prototyping directly inside Claude Code without even doing anything else, just so you understand how the code works and how the software works, so that you can design exactly what you're looking for. Here are, when I start talking to you about vibe coding, it's interesting that I talk to, I'll tell you a quick story. I talk to business owners on a daily basis. Some of them are our clients, some of them we are helping, they're not our clients yet. And I always ask them right now about AI and what's going on. And almost in every business, I find someone is already using AI. And some of them, are using AI in a way that's safe. Some of it is not as safe, but a lot of them are using it where they are building tools within their business. And I just had an example of that a day where an employee in the company was doing something that was able to find mistakes in their processes on a daily basis and build a small AI tool that saved the company probably 15% of a month in productivity just by adding this little AI tool. Now, the interesting part about this, the AI tool that they created is not actually AI or a large language model. It's AI was used to create a custom software to help their business. And that is the true strength of vibe coding. You are not necessarily using AI to run your business operations. You're using AI to build software that can benefit your business. Some of the other examples that are there: building interactive checklist apps, simplifying stock management and tracking items, visualizing data insights for better decisions, or turn common questions into simple chatbots that can give you answers to the questions you're looking for. So I talked to you about all the benefits about AI coding. Here are some of the risks of AI coding. Security and vulnerabilities. Probably this is on the top of my list over here. I told you that before in my story. Some people use AI in secure ways, some of them are not in secure way. There's a software or a package called OpenClaw on the market, and it essentially allows you to put AI into a computer that can do anything on your network. Now, if it can do anything on your network, and it sounds really good in terms of what it could help with, but sometimes AI hallucinates. Sometimes it misinterprets what you're trying to say. If you just allow that access to do anything you want in your business, you just set yourself up for a potential disaster. There was recently an article in the news where AI accidentally deleted a production database for a car rental company because of how it was set up and safeguards weren't taking place. It is really important for you guys to talk to your team about having safeguards in place to your IT team and security team when you're using AI. The other part about risks about this is that AI, the code that is currently written by AI will work, but it's going to generate the code based on what it thinks is the quickest way of doing it. It's not going to follow best practices by default. So essentially, it will make mistakes. AI is great, but it's not yet at the level where it's absolutely perfect, not by far. And what I found, I'll tell you guys another example, and this is probably a real world scenario. I wrote a number of AI apps specifically for our business. Now, after I wrote the apps, I actually had a company and a friend who's a senior programming engineer, really, really good, very talented individual. I asked him, can you review the AI that I wrote? Now, this gentleman, he works on apps that take on millions and millions of transactions per day. And my little app is specifically for the business. It has like maybe, hundreds of transactions per day versus millions. And his reply was this, is look, it's good for your business size. It will work, but if you were to put this for a business size of millions of transactions, no, it will fail. So the disclaimer here is, if you plan to write, if you now think that vibe coding is going to give you all answers to sell a new software application in your market, you need to take some more safeguards. You probably need someone to review the code and be able to apply some frameworks to it. This third item on there is also very important. It works, but nobody understands it. That is very true. What you have built is a piece of code that's built by AI. Now, there are steps that you could take to protect yourself. Number one, there are multiple different AI brands. You could use them to check itself and see, hey, are there any security vulnerabilities? Are there security issues? Number two, this is where your senior engineers and developers come in. Get frameworks, get them to review the code, understand it, make sure that there is no something that's hidden that's going to hurt you or your business. We highly recommend that you take those precautions. Data privacy concerns. Now, this is probably, again, a really, really important item to discuss, and I'm focusing on that a little bit more. If you are in a controlled industry, in healthcare, in finance, you have SEC, you have HIPAA, you have SOC reports that you need to follow as well. You need to make sure that you are aware of them when you're writing these apps. You need to have controls in place that these apps specifically follow, that are with data preservation, data auditing. You may have a great idea about this, but in those industries, you're going to want someone who's an expert in compliance actually audit this and make sure that they're following those best practices. The other part about this that is actually really important, where you host your application is going to impact how compliant it is. This is a topic we mentioned back in our discussion, that there's three phases, right? The development, the code storage, and then the hosting. There are a lot of different platforms out there that will make it easy for you to host your code. However, if you want it to be secured, I would recommend you check with your IT department where that code is stored, so that or where the application is hosted from, and that it is secured. In our environment, we specialized in, after reviewing a lot of different platforms, we actually created a secured, no one has access besides the people that we want to have access to environment using Microsoft Azure to secure the applications that we are working on. In your environment, you could choose other platforms, but keep in mind that this is really something that you need to keep in mind about, take care of. False sense of confidence. So this is another item that keep in mind. AI is not perfect. It could do a lot of things, but it doesn't always produce the same results every time. When it makes mistakes, it sounds like legitimate, like this is the fact. Make sure you do your due diligence and test your applications that it's working exactly how you want it to work. Guidelines for safe vibe coding. This is a small checklist that I think would be helpful to you guys. Start small, start on an application. Here's an idea of what's in your business. Think of your applications, think of something that's going to save you time. Doesn't matter, maybe it's 1%, maybe it's 2%. What is going to save you time when working in your business? And start on that. Document everything. Don't skip that middle step of storing your code and your revisions in GitHub or another repository. Make sure that you document what you're doing. Never skip code review. If you're going to put this in production, you should have something or someone review this code that you're putting together so it's not a black box. Set up an AI usage policy. If you guys want to have a reference, we had AI policies that webinars on AI policies that can help you create one for your business. Just check out our website or send us an email. We'll help you to share with that. Don't use it for sensitive data. If you're in a controlled industry, healthcare, finance, and you have some sensitive data, it's not that you can't use it. Just make sure you're following your company AI policy and your guidelines and where you're hosting this to make sure the data is secure. And last is know when to get help and get additional resources. At the end of the day, whatever you develop, it's going to need to be supported. It's going to need to be compliant. Make sure that you are thinking of that and not putting yourself as the only person who supports your application. So I've talked to you about a lot of items with vibe coding. If you guys are interested, we have a checklist that we can give to you. Just scan the QR code and you'll have access to our checklist along with other information regarding this webinar. We've done a lot of presentations on different topics. AI vibe coding is this one. We have how to use Claude, how to use ChatGPT, how to use Copilot, AI policy. This is something of interest to you, please visit our website. We also offer free consultations for our specialty is your infrastructure, is that the core that runs all of your IT within your organization. We can help audit that infrastructure for security. We can help you make sure you're prepared. So when you do dive into vibe coding, or if you're working in it now, that you're doing it in a secure way and you're not putting your business at risk. Again, can continue the series. Either email us if you're interested at sales@ecsoffice.com or go to our website, ecsoffice.com/newsroom. And with that in mind, I'm just gonna go over a couple of frequently asked questions. Do I need to know how to code to use vibe coding? Absolutely not. You could jump into it. All you need to do is just get the right AI and the right platform. Is AI generated code secure? No, I would not make that assumption. You need to do your own review to make sure you secure it. What tool do you recommend for beginners? So I would say we have Replit and Cursor are interesting starting points, but if you're a really beginner, Claude Code is another one that I think is probably number one out there. And if you're a really beginner that doesn't want, it's not insensitive, that you just want to create something and see how it works, my recommendations is try it with a platform such as Lovable or Base44 to just give you an idea of what you can do, because it puts all those steps into one. Can vibe coding replace my IT team? No. Vibe coding can help you build custom applications for your business. What type of projects are best suited for vibe coding? I gave you guys plenty of example tools, simple automation, dashboards, reporting, prototypes, anything that it can save you time and get you quick access to data. Should I create a policy before my team starts using it? Absolutely. If you don't have an AI policy, this is the first thing that you should do. And last but not least, how does ECS help with vibe coding? We're offering IT audits, AI policy development, sharing our AI policy, and creating a safe environment for you to be able to run the applications that you create in your infrastructure without putting the rest of your company at risk. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.